Been waiting on some suspension components for, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks now. Been waiting on some stuff from Volvo, some stuff from BNE Dynamics, and I am so excited to put this stuff on because the front end of that car has just always been horrible. But I got all brand new OEM parts, except for these beautiful JRZ RS2s with Ben's upper perches. So we got OEM control arms. We got that nice Volvo logo right there. Some people say the Lemfurter stuff is the exact same, but I don't see this scraped off on any of the Lemfurter stuff unless it's a completely different casting, which I doubt. Got brand new wheel bearings. The old wheel bearings were 220,000 miles and starting to get a little grindy, and they're just beat. We got brand new inner tie rods. I have the SMI rack. I got a reman rack, so I went with the SMI. All new boots. It comes with all of this stuff. Got brand new outer tie rods. Of course, all Volvo blue box. And we got end links, and I'm really excited to get this stuff in. And we just got to take a minute to look at these frickin' JRZ RS2s because these things are absolutely stunning. They come integrated with bump stops and everything, and they have dual adjustable dampening. So this is the compression, I believe, and the bottom is the rebound. I'll have to double check that. And I went with some Eibach 10-inch 400-pound springs. So I think those are going to allow me to get a pretty good, pretty close to OEM ride height. And of course, we got those beautiful Lux steer perches. And Ben's upper mounts are absolutely stunning. I mean, these things are just a work of art compared to that old junk that I was running over there. I am so excited to get this stuff installed. I'm so excited to get on a first test drive because I just really want to tighten up that front end, and I think all this stuff combined is going to run absolutely perfect. Here are my old crusty original wheel bearings. This one's not bad. This one's pretty smooth. You can hear a little bit of something, but that one at least spins smoothly. This one's got a nice little kind of grind to it. Yeah, it's no good. You can see the dust covers are falling off. I mean, just a mess, but what do you expect for a 220K? I'm surprised they're still good. I mean, well, good. Got my dust shields. I'm going to reuse these. New ones are like 70, 80 bucks pop, but these are in good condition. They're not rotted out. I think I'm just going to repaint them with some Pour 15. And of course, I got the hubs all degreased, power washed. I got all the bores dremeled out, everything. All the machine surfaces I got all cleaned up and everything, so gonna get some Pour 15 on these and should be ready to rock with getting the rest of this put back together. Working on getting the hubs all painted with Pour 15. I think they're coming out pretty good. Just gotta flip this one over and do the other side. Backing plates / dust shields are coming out great as well. I'm gonna flip those over soon and get the other side. Also decided to quickly put a coat on just this part of the rotor where the wheel faces because it was a rusty, nasty mess, and I was sick of looking at it. Getting it done, and also pulled out all of the suspension out of the front, got all the control arms, end links, tie rods out, and just got the axles held up, so I'm not putting too much stress on these brand new CV boots. And this side we got all taken care of too. You can see I actually pulled the brakes off. I hate like working, when you need to take the brakes off. I hate working with by not taking them out because they just frickin' like have to sit on the control arm, or you gotta frickin' zip time them somewhere, and they're just always in the way. So brake fluid's cheap. I'll rebleed them later. The ultimate bolt cleaner. Still got a little bit to go, but wow. CLR, a good old ultrasonic. Works every time. Working on getting these new wheel bearings and knuckles all torqued up. Got all brand new OEM bolts, all brand new OEM bearings. And we're gonna torque these suckers up to 14, 33, and then an additional 60 degrees. I already got the initial 14 and 33 on this one. And I'm gonna be hitting them with a little bit of anti-seize because I bought a jar of this a little while ago, and I've been looking for a good excuse to use it, and I think this is the perfect application. Not that I ever plan on taking these hubs out. Hopefully they last forever, or at least for the rest of the length of the car. But let's get those in, and we can get these puppies torqued up. Trying to do a little bit more tripod style recording. I know sometimes the holding it with your hand or speaking after you do something can be a little annoying. So I know some of you guys like to see the actual work. So I figure it's a good opportunity to do some tripod recording and talk to you guys for a little bit. I'm probably going to save the angle torque until probably do that off camera, just so I can focus, because it's always a pain trying to keep track of the angle and get it all torqued up and hold it and whatnot. But let's get these torqued to 14 and then 33, and then I'll get them torqued up to 60 off camera, and we can put on the backing plates the wheel speed sensors and get on our way. That was 14. I'll get this set to 33. Let's torque these puppies. One of these days I'll mount my vise to my bench, but today's not that day. Cool. So I got all these both torqued up to 33. Now I just need to do the angle torque, and I'm going to do that off camera real quick, and we can get to installing the backing plates and the wheel sensors. One thing I like to do when using these angle torque gauges, I like to use these. Some people, they can just, obviously each one of these is 60 degrees if it's a 6-point. But I like to mark the beginning and the end, so that way if I lose track on there, I still have a reference to keep going. Because you get one shot with torque to yield bolts. One shot. If you under torque it and you undo it and redo it, throw it out. You got to get a new one. So always keep that in mind. And then of course, always doing a black mark for the ones that I already did. And you can see that one I marked there, and it went whoop, to that one. Yeah, so I ended up just ditching the torque angle dial indicator thingy. Sometimes it's a little annoying, especially when you're working something like this, so I'm just doing the good old mark it. Imagine actually mounting your vise and doing things the easy way. That would be so boring. I would never want to do that. Got the old cheater bar out. We're really going to get these things now. Oh yeah. See, it's not like it's hard to hold the knuckle. It's just my breaker bar is kind of short. So I got my jack rod thingy majiggy and crank them down, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A little bit more. Good enough for city work. All right, last one. Last one. This freaking bar is probably right in your guys' face. Sorry, I'm trying to torque my bolts. That even move? A little bit. A little bit. Sure, you guys are thinking that socket's gonna break and this is gonna stab me. We're good. We're good. This one's a bugger, huh? Alright, I'm gonna finish this one off camera. Imagine I went through all that and I didn't check that you could put the backing plates on after you torqued them. Ha, you would have thunk. I checked. We're good. Got my bolts painted up with Core 15. Literally pointless because they're probably just going to get nicked up when I tighten them down, but you know what? It makes me feel good and I like painting stuff. So whatever. I got my wheel sensors, wheel speed sensors. And man, these things are so much easier to get out than the frickin' all-wheel drive ones. The all-wheel drive ones from the donor car were so rusted in, I just had to break them out. Like, literally destroy them getting them out. But look at these, brand new, 25 years old. Good job, Volvo. Volvo makes good parts. That's why I only buy OEM. Anyway, you get these backing plates tightened down, get the sensors in. We can be done with these hubs and start playing around with the struts. Also, just take a minute here to see how nice these came out painted. Look at that heat treating. Look at that heat treating. Oh yeah. Also got these the faces painted up because they are a rusty, nasty mess. Don't worry, all this is clear paint. These center properly. Oh yeah, do it for the gram. Only paint stuff for the gram. Just kidding. Ugh. I'm already feeling the pain of angle torquing those the stupid way, but that's okay. What only hurts you makes you stronger. Something like that, I don't know. Anyway, let's get these bolts on. I'm really, anti-seizes. I think this is my new thing. Just anti-seize it all, right? Just like Loctite, right? Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, the all-wheel drive hubs, it's kind of hard to, the backing plates are kind of hard to get onto the knuckles once you put the wheel bearing on, but this is a different story. I like these Bolden wheel bearings a lot better, I think, because those other ones are really easy to mess up, and if you want to take them out, you have to intentionally, the rear wheel bearings, you have to intentionally destroy them to get them out. So, but we'll never need to take those out again. Baby go. Go baby go, baby go. We'll just get these backing plate bolts kind of tight. There's no reason to torque these. And down. There she is, the complete hub. We got wheel sensor, everything put together. Gonna get the other one done because you guys probably don't want to see me do the same thing twice. Imagine being the weirdo that torques their backing plate bolts to spec. That's me. I can't get this one though, but that's okay. 2 out of 3, right? That's all you need. That's 66%. It's passing. All right, the hubs are all done. My OCD is like, yes, man, yes. I don't know. I just really like painting stuff. Like, it's like half the fun of the build. I like just cleaning stuff and painting it and making it look pretty. And yeah, let's get some of this cleaned up. And I want to start working on those struts and putting those new coilovers together. We're back. It's another day. Got the hubs done yesterday. And today I want to put the new coilovers together. So I just want to do a little unboxing on these puppies because, I mean, this is like a proper front suspension setup. I was going to have my old TA Technics bodies and try and remove the gland nuts and revalve them with some Coney 8610, 1437s, blah, blah, blah. And then use my crappy freaking bent aluminum camber plates. And I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of cheaping out on suspension. I've always cheaped out on suspension on that car, and it's like, it's just not worth it. So I bought the Jersey RS2s through BNE Dynamics, and I think they're going to be literally be worth every penny, and I'm pretty excited to get and drive them. But man, let's pull this shock out. Here they are. They are freaking awesome looking. They have dual adjustability again. Compression, I think compression's top on when I look it up, and then rebound on the bottom, or could be flipped, but they are dual adjustable. So that's going to be really cool for adjusting how much the front can pull up and you know, push down on the track and whatnot. They do come with included bump stops. If you pop this little dust cover, they do have these bump stops. These are fully rebuildable. So that was another like key thing, is if these, you know, in a couple of years, if I ever need to get these rebuilt, just send them right back over to JRZ. They can rebuild them for me, no problem. They come with these awesome dust caps and obviously adjustable. And I asked Ben what this is for. This is for adapting from I guess this is a perch or an adjuster for a 2.25 inch diameter spring, and this brings it up to 2.5. Comes with machine fittings for his strut mounts, and I'll show those a little bit next. We got this, included all the hardware for the strut mounts, which I'm pretty excited about. And let's take a look at these puppies. He's got a couple different options for these strut mounts, but I went with the Lux Steer version, obviously for just the regular 2.5 inch inner diameter coil, and it has full SKS spherical bearings, full adjustability, and you can see that the mount is like actually curved to the strut tower, so it's not going to get all bent up like those cheapo eBay aluminum ones. So these are beautiful. And then this does come off. You can see this is the Lux Steer bearing. And then I went with some iBox springs, some 10 inch, because I want to be running the factory ride height. There's no reason to dump that car. I'm not even going to go into it because we discussed it in the last video, but I want proper OEM suspension ride height so that we can get the OEM geometry and everything and get that all dialed in and aligned properly. When you dump those cars, it just causes a whole bunch of issues with steering, and the car always kind of pulls the one way, and it's just a pain. So we got these really nice iBox 10 inch springs, and again, they're 400 pound, and these are going to be perfect, I think, for the front. And these are going to be a perfect match for the 700s in the rear. So I'm pretty excited. I pretty much have everything to put these together. It also comes with this nice like dual lock nut setup, because it's kind of hard. I guess you can't really hold this the strut piston or whatever you want to call it when torquing these down. So I think what you do is you torque one of them down, and then you kind of double nut it and torque this one down. And you can hold that bottom one while you're spinning this one so that you don't spin the piston rod. And then of course, there's a little set screen here to pop this off, but I just wanted to show these real quick. I'm really happy I bought these. I'm really happy I spent the big bucks on these, because I really think it's going to be worth it. So start putting these together. All right, so I repositioned the camera so you guys can actually see the full strut. It was a little bit cut off in the last clip, but I'm going to start putting these together. Like I said, you have your strut body here. We have our integrated bump stop, dust cover, we have our adjuster knob, our double nuts, we have this little sleeve to adapt it to Ben's upper perches, we have our Lux Steer bearing, and of course our spring. So the first thing we need to do is there's this little set screw right here, and that little set screw holds this adjuster nut into the piston tube, whatever you want to call it. Pull that out, take both our nuts off. Next, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We just got to throw on our spring. Obviously, the iBox logo's got to be facing up. OCD, it's always getting me. Drop that down. And again, like I mentioned earlier, this little plastic adapter adapts it from this 2.25 adjuster to a 2.5 inch spring. And Ben said it also adds a little bit of sliding action, or allows some sliding action, and I guess also to stop the spring from nicking this aluminum adjuster. So after that is done, we got our Lux Steer bearing. This yellow side just pops right in to the upper strut mount like that. And of course, this nice anodized, purple anodized part is for a 2.5 inch spring. We got our sleeve here, and this is just going to slip right over that sleeve. right down. And again, I got this set all the way to the bottom so that I know this mount is all the way down. And then I also asked Ben the proper way to do these double nuts. And so he said to get the first one on, hit it with an electric impact on like a low setting just to get it tight. And then this top one, you can do the full torque spec on. And I guess you can hold this bottom nut just like a double nut when you're like removing a stud. You can hold that bottom one, make sure this one gets properly torqued without the piston moving at all. And so I'm gonna get that all done, get that torqued down, get this whole thing torqued down, and then I'm just gonna adjust this up a little bit just so there's a tiny bit of preload, and we'll set the preload and ride height in the car. And that's pretty much it. I mean, these come pretty much ready to go, which is another reason I bought them instead of having to mess with those gland nuts and the TA Technus and revalving them and putting the springs and blah, 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 blah. I mean, this just seems a lot easier, and it's gonna be better in the end, I think. So I'm gonna get those nuts torqued down, get the adjuster put back on, do the other one, and we should be ready to rock on the control arms, inner outer tie rods, end links, and just waiting on some new strut to steering knuckle bolts, and I think this whole thing can go back together. Another thing I want to point out is these are like left and right. So I did have them flipped, but the cool thing is you don't have to frickin' unbolt it. Just unscrew those, flip them, and you're done. So this is the proper orientation. You want this this part facing up with the end link facing up and that facing that way according to Ben's picture. And I'm gonna go fix that one real quick and we'll be ready to rock. All right, we just gotta take a moment to admire these. I got these all torqued down. I was able to hold this bottom nut and get this one torqued to like 40 before my wrench was slipping off the bottom one. And then I held it, and then I just impacted this top one on, gave it a couple ugga-duggas on each one. So I did bottom impact, top hand torque, and then top impact a little bit too. I don't think they're going anywhere, but man, these things are freaking beautiful. And I got the hardware too. It comes with the hardware for the strut mounts, but like, we just gotta take a moment to admire these. I'm so excited to try these out. Working on getting the new inner tie rods installed. I got this side done. I blue thread locked it, and then I torqued it 60 degrees. I can't get a torque wrench on this, so I just 60 degrees, got it pretty darn tight, and it's thread locked. It's not like this can really loosen up because you know, the outer tie rod's gonna be into the knuckle, so it can't really unloosen, but that's nice and tight, that's fine. And then I did want to show the difference. So I said I had a Detroit remanufactured axle, and it looked like it came with OEM-ish tie rods, but they're definitely not OEM. You can see that's different, and obviously there's no OEM part number stamping. They look very similar. Look, you can see this is actually longer, so that gives you more for the wrench to bite onto. That one's too short, and on the one side, you can't actually get a wrench on it, and you have to use pliers, and it was a pain to get off, especially with the thread locker in there. You can see on this side, there's like this little green thing. I think that stops it from going too far that way, even though it should be limited on the knuckle or whatever. But regardless, I'm gonna get this side thread locked and installed. Got my inner tie rod boots installed. I bought this new little tool a couple weeks ago. Never actually got to use it, but it's like a low profile boot pinch clamp tool. And it's for like getting in really tight areas like this. And you can kind of pinch the clamp like that. I might have to remove this oil feed to do it, but it's quite a bit easier on the other side. But most you gotta do pinch clamps like that, but obviously that can never work like this. But you see it right there, and then you go back and just crimp it. So pretty cool little tool. It's like 10 bucks on Amazon. Can't wait to use it. Well, got the strut married to the steering knuckle. Got it just hand tightened down with some anti-seize. And this is the way, the correct orientation. The nut is supposed to be on the same side as where the brake is. Now this used to be an issue on my old setup. I didn't have OEM bolts on the strut, but no problems getting that in. You can see it's close, but that is the proper orientation, at least for this side. But yeah, fully rebuilt, ready to go in. Got the hardware kit installed. So I think it's time to drop these puppies in. I want to get this car driving again. Something I want to point out when installing Ben's upper perches that kind of threw me for a loop. So you can't see, but under here, these are actually slotted. The mounts are slotted. And you actually have to adjust the mount in the tower so that you can get access to all these bolts. And before I had it adjusted like way this way, and you couldn't get a wrench in that bolt, and I was really confused. But I saw those slots and I just took out all the bolts, started messing around with things, and you can actually get it to you know, be accessible. And then you're probably thinking, oh well, it hits there, how do you get all that adjustment? Well, if you take this out, there's actually, you can see that other hole right there, and that allows you to go more the other way. So there's like there's 8 different holes here for basically either, you know, want to go full negative or full positive. Again, these are caster camber, so these adjust caster and camber at the same time. But if you buy these mounts, just keep an eye out for that, because it kind of threw me for a loop, but I figured it out without having to bother Ben. A couple of important things I want to mention. The strut to knuckle bolts are torpedoed, so you'd have to replace them with new ones. Same with the control arm. And also, you have to preload the control arms. I already set the ride height on the coils. I set it to the same 25 inches from the ground to the top of here as I did before. And then I measured from here to here with the car on the ground. It's about 14.5 inches. And so you have to actually use a jack to preload the strut so that you can torque the control arms with the strut preloaded. If you don't do this, your bushings are going to get twisted when you put the car back on the ground, and you don't want that, because it's gonna cause excessive wear, and it's just going to be a whole mess. So make sure whenever you're doing those control arms, you always set the ride height and then preload the control arm with a jack or something, and measure it, and then tighten down the control arm bolts. This is very important. This is the tool I use to torque the end links. Basically, as long as this wrench is 90 degrees to the torque wrench, the torque at the end is not modified at all. If you switch it to like something like this, it becomes an extension of the torque arm, and now your torque reading is going to be off. So if you use one of these, just make sure, always use it at 90 degrees, unless, you know, you can use it the other way, but you got to calculate the real torque. And you have to do this because, as you can see, you need to get a torque wrench on there so that you don't spin the end link. If you spin it, you're going to break it and screw it up. And there's some people grab it behind here. I may or may not. I used to be one of those people. But if you grab it behind there, you can't really, because there's a little clip that holds the boot on it, and you'll just ruin it. So buy the proper tool to do this. You can do this, or there's special end link tools you can buy. But this is like universal. I've used this for so many things, and it works great all the time. Got this end link on, gotta go do the other side. I think I'm just about ready to take it out for its first test drive. I got these bolts torqued, end link bolts torqued, control arm torqued, lower ball joint torqued, got the brakes torqued, got the axle nut torqued, got the disc torqued, got the brakes all retorqued up, and I bled all 4 twice, so they should be pretty good. And then up here, we got this torqued and this torqued on both sides. And again, we got axle nut, brakes, struts, control arms, lower ball joint, outer tie rod nut, end links. I just got to tighten up these, and then I think we should be ready to rock. I'm going to start with everything at zero compression and 0 rebound. Well, I got things driving and running, and I'm not gonna lie, that frickin' front end is amazing. Like, I found myself just bracing for impacts, and then nothing would happen, because that's how bad the old suspension was. It was bad. But I'm gonna end this video here, and next video we're gonna be doing some other stuff and some test driving stuff. I just got the left and right equaled out, since the transmission's on the left. It's a little bit lower. It was like 1/8 of an inch, so I fixed that. But I'm really happy with this suspension. I'm just blown away at how high of a ride quality this car has. Like all the new control arms and wheel bearings. See, the wheel bearing, I fixed I used to have like a little sound on this side, like a whizzing sound, and all that's gone. This front end is just, it's amazing. I mean, it needs an alignment, so I'm gonna get that done soon. And after the alignment, we'll do the full review, full test drive, and like all that good stuff. But I'm just blown away right now. So until next video, guys.